Initially, the casting for the Music Man movie stirred plenty of rumors and debate in Hollywood. Robert Preston was known for his stage role as Professor Harold Hill, dazzling audiences on Broadway, but studios pushed for a bigger movie star. Many believed the part would go to someone like Frank Sinatra or Cary Grant, and indeed talks with Grant happened. But he made it clear that even he saw Preston as the only authentically dynamic Hill. This opinion from such a Hollywood heavyweight helped shift the decision, and so Preston, despite not being a typical box office draw, landed the movie part. The choice gave the film authenticity and the spark it needed. For Marian Paroo, the studio wanted Shirley Jones, who had just won an Oscar for Elmer Gantry, and had a charming soprano ideal for musical roles. Jones auditioned for the part, and her chemistry tests with Preston impressed director Morton DaCosta. The energy between Preston and Jones was unmistakable, bringing real emotion to the story's central romantic pull, and helping the filmmakers discard alternative pairings. For the supporting cast, the search for Winthrop led to Ron Howard, then a child actor best known for The Andy Griffith Show. Howard's shyness and lisp, which in real life made him nervous, matched Winthrop's character perfectly and won him the role. Buddy Hackett, picked for the comic role of Marcellus, did an impromptu audition by improvising a version of Shapoopy during his meeting. His quick wit and timing made casting him an easy decision. Hermione Gingold was chosen for Eulalie thanks to her experience and grandiose comic style, fitting the colorful, over-the-top character. The barbershop quartet, known as the Buffalo Bills, was carried over from the Broadway show after being praised for their harmonies by critics and audiences. Realizing how critical their vocals were to the musical's charm, producers decided not to risk replacements. These choices, the result of debates, persistence, and the value of on-screen chemistry, allowed the film to capture the energy of the stage production while giving it fresh life for the screen. Instead of following a rigid stage-to-screen translation, Morton DaCosta brought the Music Man to life by embracing both the broad strokes of musical comedy and the delicate human details of River City's small-town world. Drawing on his roots in Broadway, as he had directed the highly successful stage version, he guided the cast with a sense of theatrical timing, yet encouraged subtlety and warmth that made the film accessible and endearing. He was influenced by Golden Age musicals and the Americana of Norman Rockwell, seeking vibrant color and precision in every frame, but also an authenticity in each character's reactions. DaCosta worked closely with Robert Preston to maintain Harold Hill's fast-talking energy while grounding the charm with emotional truth, and he gave Shirley Jones room to explore Marian's transformation from skepticism to hope. Often, he collaborated tightly with choreographer Anna White to allow the dance numbers, notably the 76 Trombones Parade, to feel like seamless, spontaneous bursts of community life rather than rehearsed spectacles. Throughout shooting, DaCosta insisted on lush, saturated cinematography to capture the warmth of summer in Iowa, partnering with his art and costume teams to make even the big scenes feel intimate and lived in. The director maintained a cooperative set, drawing out group chemistry during ensemble scenes such as the library and town square, fostering an environment where cast and crew could experiment and suggest ideas, by balancing showmanship with a grounded, affectionate view of small-town America. DaCosta shaped a film that felt both spectacular and genuinely heartfelt, weaving together nostalgia, humor, and sincere emotion. When The Music Man came out in 1962, it quickly became one of the most beloved musicals ever made. Set in a small Iowa town, the story follows a charming con artist named Harold Hill who tries to cheat the townspeople by pretending to start a boys' band. It's packed with catchy songs and memorable dance scenes that people still remember today. Some parts will make you laugh, others might surprise you, and a few moments tug right at your heart. So make sure you keep watching this video for some funny, shocking, and sad facts you've probably never heard. Over the years, The Music Man's clever script, catchy music, and colorful characters have helped it stay popular with new generations. What do you think gives this movie its lasting power in Hollywood history? For many, the cast is a huge reason to keep coming back. Robert Preston, who played Harold Hill, became a legend after his performance in this movie. The story would have been the same without Shirley Jones as Marian. Which classic Hollywood actor impressed you the most in this film? Maybe you have your own special memories of watching The Music Man with family or friends, or maybe it introduced you to musical movies for the first time. We would love to hear about your most cherished memory or any personal story related to this movie, so share your thoughts and memories in the comments below. At first glance, the bustling town of River City in The Music Man looked like a slice of small-town Iowa, but the magic came to life on the Warner Brothers lot in Burbank, California. The art department worked for months recreating the architecture and spirit of the 1912 Midwest, carefully building clapboard storefronts and leafy avenues right on the studio soundstage. Production teams studied period photographs so every telephone pole, weather vane, and lace curtain matched the era. The library and the iconic footbridge, both central to the story, were entirely constructed on set, allowing the camera to move freely and catch the vibrant musical numbers from every angle. Meanwhile, a few brief location shots were filmed on the MGM backlot, seamlessly blending with the main sets through clever editing and expert use of matte paintings. Costumes and props pose their own hurdles, with hundreds of extras needing period-accurate outfits, and hand props, from cornet cases to band uniforms, all requiring countless fittings and adjustments to support the film's famous dance scenes. The musical numbers relied on complex, new forms of camera tracking to follow cast, and choreography without cutting away, using cranes and dollies more creatively than most musicals had attempted before. This technique allowed the audience to feel like part of River City's parades, crowded town halls, and bustling ice cream socials. Keeping all the musicians in sync when shooting big band sequences was a challenge, so pre-recorded tracks played on hidden speakers, with actors miming their instruments and voice lines in time, so that editing could match everything perfectly. After filming, large cast scenes included not only actors, but crew working out of frame, wrangling animals, managing lighting, or fixing costume malfunctions on the fly. Filming outdoors meant crews had to juggle weather, changing daylight, and the noise of real Burbank traffic, so production often ran late into the evenings to get shots when it was quiet enough. Altogether, the work behind The Music Man was a coordinated dance of its own, blending careful craftsmanship, technical novelty, and lots of patience from everyone involved, making a seamless world that still feels alive decades later. Although The Music Man has earned lasting fame, and even touched the hearts of many, it also divides viewers right from the start. For some, it is uplifting and emotionally powerful, meant to be enjoyed on several levels. It often conjures up nostalgic feelings for Americana, with its bright costumes and enthusiastic cast. Others, though, see the movie quite differently, focusing on issues that seem impossible to overlook. The film, based on the hit stage musical, was considered a standout in its era, and picked up a nomination for Best Picture in 1962. But this acclaim has never stopped its critics from speaking out. The lively energy that some find exhilarating, others dismiss as sheer noise, likening the film to an exhausting barrage of sound that drowns out the subtle moments. While a segment of viewers find the cast charming, pointing out Ron Howard's performance as the young, lisping child, and Shirley Jones' appealing presence as both wholesome and talented, their contributions are not enough for everyone. Shirley Jones in particular is described by some as misused, her capacity as an actress untapped, and her chemistry with Robert Preston's Professor Harold Hill weak, making their central romance hard to believe. Robert Preston, who brought Hill to life, is lauded for his zest and spirit, yet to some he comes across as over-the-top and overwhelming. Aside from the performances, the musical numbers themselves inspire intense debate. Many recall 76 Trombones as a genuinely catchy, standout melody, but complain that the other songs blend together and sound unmemorable or even unpleasant to the ear. For those who love musicals of the era, The Music Man seems especially flat compared to classics like My Fair Lady, Mary Poppins, or The Sound of Music, where the stories, characters, and songs have left indelible marks. Yet, there are certainly those for whom The Music Man is endearing in its corny wholesomeness, who enjoy the sense of community, the small-town charm, and the spectacle of large, colorfully staged musical routines. Critics see the supporting cast as odd or even creepy, rather than quaint, and the writing is forced, especially when it comes to family dynamics and character motivations. The inclusion of Ron Howard as the young brother is identified as a transparent attempt to inject cuteness, with the family relationships stretched thin and not fully believable, particularly considering the age differences among the major characters. However, even among those who dismiss the plot as far-fetched and the music as forgettable, there is sometimes a begrudging appreciation for the scale of the production, the efforts put into costumes, and the high spirits shown by the cast. The division is strong, with one side seeing the movie as an overrated, noisy ordeal with wasted talent and little substance, while the other embraces its warmth and ability to entertain, even if only for its simple charms and lively atmosphere. Ultimately, The Music Man draws strong reactions either way, making it a film that is hard to ignore, whether it inspires affection or frustration. From the very first note, the score of The Music Man sets the stage with a playful energy, perfectly matching the film's light-hearted story and lively characters. Composer Meredith Willson crafted each melody to reflect the small-town charm of River City, Iowa. Throughout the movie, the music echoes the characters' dreams and doubts, using instruments like trombones and clarinets to evoke a marching band spirit. Willson, a talented musician himself, worked closely with the orchestra and singers, insisting on lively tempos to keep the songs bouncing along. Musicians remembered how Willson wanted every lyric to match the natural rhythm of spoken American English, making each song feel like a real conversation. The famous song 76 Trombones acts as a bright anthem, uniting the townspeople with hope, while heartfelt ballads like Till There Was You bring warmth and gentle emotion to key scenes. Studio musicians described how the recording sessions were filled with laughter, and the cast, led by Robert Preston and Shirley Jones, sang with genuine enthusiasm, feeding off the energy of the live orchestra. Every cue and underscoring piece was tailored to highlight either the comedy or the touching moments, as when Marian softens toward Harold Hill, or when the town comes together in the final parade. Even background music was carefully chosen to support dialogue and seamlessly transition between scenes. The result is a soundtrack that not only captures the spirit of the time, but also invites the audience to feel the changes the characters experience with every song. During the production, Shirley Jones was expecting her son Patrick Cassidy, so custom outfits were used to conceal her pregnancy from the audience and keep the focus on her performance. Prior to this, she managed to replace Jane Wyman as Aunt Polly in The Adventures of Pollyanna, while still under contract for a major television role on Falcon Crest, showing her ability to balance demanding projects in film and television. Meanwhile, Mary Wickes, who appeared in the film, brought experience from an earlier stage performance in The Torchbearers at the Bucks County Playhouse in Pennsylvania, where she acted alongside Grace Kelly in Kelly's first professional appearance in July 1949. These connections between cast members highlight a network of skill and dedication across both stage and screen, and show how actors often juggle overlapping commitments and challenges during high-profile film projects. Suddenly, the town of River City comes alive with the opening sequence on the train, as the camera glides alongside a rattling rhythm of salesmen chanting about their business. The direction here relies on sharp timing and smooth group choreography to plant the film squarely in early 20th century Americana. The performances are instantaneously memorable. Robert Preston's Professor Harold Hill brims with slick energy and confidence, while the chorus of townspeople responds with skepticism and small-town wariness. When Hill launches into "You Got Trouble," the camera closes in, magnifying the urgency of his warnings and the magnetism of his personality. It's a whirlwind of fast talking, brisk movement, and facial expressions, all designed to captivate the townspeople and, by extension, the audience. Director Morton DaCosta's use of crowd scenes, especially in the group numbers, gives each song a sense of real, lived-in community while letting the colors pop against the Midwest backdrop, thanks in part to William H. Reynolds' sharp cinematography. Meanwhile, the 76 Trombones Parade is unforgettable for its sheer spectacle. Rows of townsfolk move in perfect, joyous lockstep down Main Street, with Preston leading the march in exuberant style. The camera's sweeping crane shots catch the exuberance and organize the chaos, while the costumes by Dorothy Jenkins dazzle with rich reds, golds, and whites. Shirley Jones as Marian the librarian, particularly in Goodnight, My Someone, and the iconic library scene, radiates a gentle strength. The soft focus lighting casts a nearly fairy tale glow, matching her delicate vocals and lending the romantic subplot a classic Hollywood gloss. In interviews, Preston credited DaCosta for insisting on capturing the original stage energy, saying he brought theater magic through the lens by respecting the rhythm and pacing of musical scenes. Shirley Jones spoke about how meticulously choreographed each movement was, mentioning that DaCosta made her repeat small gestures to nail the rhythm of her character's quiet transformation throughout. Consequently, the footbridge scene with Hill and Marian stands out because of its tender restraint. The dim, golden light and the barely audible crickets wrap the pair in intimacy. The subtlety of their performances, the smallest quivers in their voices, the careful blocking that brings their faces just close enough, all work together to signal the shift in Hill's character from schemer to someone feeling genuine affection. Discussing this scene, Jones described how DaCosta kept the set nearly silent to help the actors build tension, allowing the audience to hang on every soft-spoken word and hesitant gesture. Later, in the triumphant finale, the transformation of the ragtag boys into a triumphant, booming marching band feels hard-earned and joyous. The direction builds the crowd's anticipation, focusing on close-ups of expectant parents, awe-struck children, and the previously jaded townsfolk who let down their guard to march along. Throughout, the combination of crisp, bright visuals, nuanced performances, and inventive musical staging lets these iconic moments linger with audiences long after the credits roll. The directors and actors repeatedly credited the seamless blending of location, choreography, and camera work for creating scenes that feel both larger than life and immediately relatable, ensuring the film's legacy endures across generations. During the production, Shirley Jones played a key role, and later expressed disappointment in the abrupt end of her television series, where she worked with her stepson, David Cassidy. The decision to end that show was tied both to dropping audience numbers and Cassidy's own fatigue with a repeated character. Robert Preston, another prominent actor from the cast, had an established track record that included appearances in 3 films nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars, which demonstrates his ongoing involvement in major cinematic projects of the time. A young Ron Howard participated in the film at an early stage of his career. Later, a rumor circulated regarding Howard's interest in adapting a British novel with a focus on mistreatment of others, reflecting his eventual move toward directing thought-provoking films. Each performer brought personal stories and professional experience, shaping the atmosphere on set and connecting their work in this musical to other chapters of American entertainment. Nevertheless, when The Music Man arrived in 1962, it became much more than a colorful musical. It reflected and shaped the ideas of small-town America for a whole generation. People saw their own lives in the cheerful citizens of River City, a town both innocent and suspicious, hopeful yet afraid of change. Harold Hill's sly trickery and eventual redemption mirrored the post-war tension between trusting newcomers and clinging to old ways, something many families felt as suburban towns grew. The film's music, especially the famous 76 trombones, caught on everywhere, turning family living rooms, school gymnasiums, and even political rallies into their own versions of the parade. Its story, with Marian the librarian standing up for reason and Harold learning to care about others, gave audiences something to talk about beyond just catchy songs. It wasn't just the joy and spectacle. The film poked fun at conformity and gossipy neighbors without cruelty, letting people laugh at themselves and think twice about who gets accepted or labeled as different. Even as the world changed quickly in the 60s, The Music Man kept old-fashioned ideals alive, but not without question. Its optimism and gentle humor made it a favorite for people wanting a hopeful view of American life, but its portrayal of women's roles and outsiders also started conversations about who got to belong in a good community. Broadway musicals brought to the screen rarely stuck so firmly in the national memory, but this film did, influencing amateur theater, high school bands, and even modern movies with its nostalgic yet clear-eyed view of small-town dreams. The Music Man kept people humming, smiling, and thinking about what kind of towns and what kind of neighbors they wanted to be. During production, the cast included experienced character actors who brought added recognition from their previous roles. Mary Wickes, known for playing nuns in popular films like Sister Act and The Trouble with Angels, appeared here in a different supporting role. The script features the term shipoopy, which was invented by songwriter Meredith Willson and does not have roots in genuine 1912 slang. Instead, it was created for his 1957 stage musical and later used in the film. The phrase describes a girl who refuses to kiss until the third date, adding comic wordplay to the story's musical numbers. The cast also included Hermione Gingold, an actress noted as much for her sharp wit as for her on-screen presence. Off-screen, Gingold had a public spat with the gossip columnist Dorothy Kilgallen. The conflict was so well known that Gingold once walked onto The Tonight Show, carrying Kilgallen's photo inside a toilet seat as a jab during her interview. These details give insight into the personalities behind the film, from creative word invention to bold moments in popular culture. Initially, The Music Man charmed critics with its vivid energy, catchy score, and the strong performances of Robert Preston and Shirley Jones. Reviewers praised the film's faithfulness to the original Broadway production, and often noted that Preston, reprising his stage role as Harold Hill, brought a contagious enthusiasm to the screen. Shirley Jones received warm compliments for her nuanced portrayal of Marian Paroo, while special mention was given to the lively supporting cast and spirited children's chorus numbers. Audiences responded with excitement, filling theaters and offering standing ovations during its original run, especially for classic tunes like 76 Trombones and Till There Was You. Not only did the Music Man maintain popularity over time, but it also became a staple for community screenings and musical enthusiasts. Critical approval translated into industry recognition as well. The film was nominated for 6 Academy Awards, taking home the Oscar for Best Musical Score, which showcased the fine adaptation of Meredith Willson's beloved songs. Other nominations included Best Picture, Best Editing, and Best Art Direction. The film also received multiple Golden Globe nominations, highlighting the appeal of both leads and the overall production. These accolades helped cement the reputation and careers of those involved, particularly Preston, whose performance remains iconic, and director Morton DaCosta, who managed to balance spectacle with heartfelt storytelling. Awards, positive reviews, and audience adoration together reinforced The Music Man as a high point of early 1960s musical cinema, ensuring the film's long-lived legacy within Hollywood and the hearts of musical fans everywhere. Despite his long history in westerns with John Wayne, Hank Worden appeared only once in Gunsmoke, playing Claude. He was known for working on films like Stagecoach, Fort Apache, and The Searchers, all classics directed by John Ford. This movie also marks the final film appearance of Jack Perrin, closing out a career that began in the silent era and spanned several decades. Meanwhile, Shirley Jones played a lead role after achieving major recognition at the Academy Awards. As the 52nd actress to win an Oscar, Jones received the Best Supporting Actress award for her performance in Elmer Gantry in 1961, adding to her established presence in film. These details underline the blend of experienced Western actors and acclaimed performers brought together for one project. In addition, the cast's connections to classic Hollywood and significant moments in film history create a deeper background for viewers who enjoy both musicals and old westerns. Several actors in the film were in the later stages of their careers, providing a final showcase of their talents in a period when Hollywood was transitioning into new styles and genres. While the production focused on a lively and entertaining story, the past achievements and milestones of its cast offer an extra layer of meaning for audiences familiar with earlier eras of cinema. Despite the grand scale of The Music Man's River City, the set was contained almost entirely within the Warner Brothers backlot, where actors and crew members sometimes felt like they lived more in that make-believe Iowa than their real homes. Each morning, Robert Preston would arrive carrying a hatbox, joking that it contained his real Harold Hill, and the rest was just him pretending. During rehearsals, Shirley Jones, playing Marian Paroo, found herself frequently in fits of laughter because the child actors would sneak extra marbles into their pockets, causing them to click and clack at the quietest moments, much to the annoyance of the sound engineers who desperately tried to keep the set quiet for dialogue. On days when the famous 76 Trombones parade was being filmed, the extras struggled to march in step, so rehearsal time would be extended, and the heat from the stage lights would turn everyone red-faced and hungry for cold lemonade. Still, no one seemed to mind when Buddy Hackett ad-libbed his lines, sending both the cast and crew into stifled giggles and forcing more than one retake. Even with the film's musical numbers looking so perfect on screen, Jones shared years later that her ballroom dress tore 3 times in a single dance routine, sending makeup artists and seamstresses into sprints just before camera rolled. While there were long days and tempers sometimes flared, Preston was known for slipping out between takes, only to return minutes later with ice cream bars for the whole company, a small gesture that became a favorite tradition among the crew. Through the hot summer filming, these moments allowed the cast to bond like a real small-town community, each one playing their part in making the magic of The Music Man come to life. Since its debut in 1962, The Music Man has held a unique place in American film history as a joyful celebration of small-town life, irresistible music, and heartfelt storytelling. The film's lively energy, led by Robert Preston's memorable performance as Harold Hill, defined a new benchmark for musical film adaptations in the early 60s, blending stage to screen with remarkable faithfulness. Its songs, especially iconic tunes like 76 Trombones and Till There Was You have become part of the Great American Songbook, covered by countless artists, and even slipping into popular culture far beyond Broadway or Hollywood. Over time, the movie's optimism, earnestness, and sly humor have drawn generations of families, turning its scenes, music, and lines into sources of both nostalgia and delight. Directors and producers have cited it as inspiration, praising its seamless fusion of spectacle and small-town charm, and its careful balance between sincere emotion and gentle satire. Even in later musicals and family films, stock characters, flashy ensembles, and energetic marching bands owe much to the blueprint set by the Music Man. Its influence stretches into various revivals, both on stage and television, and its formula of charismatic con artist meets an unsuspecting audience has become a pattern repeated in other stories. The style, pacing, and structure have guided how big-budget musicals were developed for decades, ensuring that the movie's lasting influence keeps marching on. Sometimes a movie captures more than just your attention. It can feel like stepping into another time or remembering faces and voices you haven't thought about in years. The 1962 film adaptation of The Music Man often brings back memories for people who remember its bright music, its fast-paced fun, or the charm of Robert Preston as Harold Hill and Shirley Jones as Marian Paroo. Maybe you remember gathering around the TV with your family, everyone humming along to 76 trombones. Or maybe the film brought you a sense of small-town pride. Perhaps The Music Man shaped how you view musicals or introduced you to the world of movie magic, one where grand parades and heartfelt romance can unfold in a single song. Think about how the film left its mark on you. Did it start your love for old movies, or inspire you to explore the stage yourself? Stories like yours help keep those joyful memories alive, and sharing how this movie shaped your view of film is always welcome. It would be wonderful to hear your personal experiences with The Music Man. Please share your stories and memories in the comments, and join others who felt the same. If you enjoy revisiting classic cinema, like and share this video, and subscribe for more journeys into film.